Hey everyone, it's Ted here, from Ted's Gaming. Today I'm going to do something different instead of reviews. I'm going to do a painting tutorial. It was requested by some guy from some guys from the our game store. They were wanting to be shown how to do some quick painting. Um, a lot of armies, you go to tournaments and stuff like that. They just have gray plastic armies out. This is for people who want to get into painting are too intimidated because every time they buy an army, then they get the magazine, this one of the magazines, this to see how to what the armies look like and everything. They got these beautifully painted armies. And to a lot of guys they're put off by it because they can't they try it and they just can't paint up to the quality they see in the magazine. So what I want to do is show them that how you can make tabletop painted armies so you get them on the table and play with and feel good about it. So this is not high standard painting stuff, but you can always do it. But this is for something for quick, easy for beginners who are just getting into it. Don't have the skills developed yet. So this is where you get your armies, you get some painted, and get them on the table. And once you get painted armies on the table, they play differently. Instead of just playing with the gray plastic forces on the table this way. And for historical you guys who want to get into historical gaming and stuff, where you got a lot of troops that you need to paint, this is the way that you could paint get troops painted on a table and fielded and make it look good. So we're going to be starting off today. We're going to be using only a couple kinds of paint. We're going to use Citadel Contrast paints. These are wonderful for mass painting. They go on and almost like a one stop deal. These and Army Painter speed paints. These are like they're like Citadel. They have a little bit different quality to them, but they still do the same thing. So they all have the good paints and they all have some not very good paints. Uh, so we're just going to paint a couple miniatures just to show you how it goes on, and if it's for you, I mean, beautiful. I mean, just so that just get more painted armies on the field. And I said, once you have a painted army on the field, it just feels different. It feels more personal the time you put into painting the armies. It just gives it more personal taste to it. So we'll start off with excuse these are kind of glared out, but these are some old Bretonnians archers. I use these for medieval archers too for my historical, but I have tons of these things just piled up around here. For a while there, these were like you get dozens. So I've decided that I'm just gonna paint these a basic black and red. So the first color I'm gonna start off with, and with contrast paints, I usually a lot of paints you start with like the flesh and you work your way up. But with contrast, I find doing the bigger areas first, get those out of the way, then work your way down. It's a little bit opposite, but it works out fine. So okay. So with contrast paints, you just paint it on. There's different ways you can put it on. You can put like I'm doing straight out of the bottle, and don't worry. Like I make a mistake. Don't worry about that. That's you. We can come back and fix that really easy. So just paint around, and if you take your time in the beginning and keep away from the belts and stuff, it just helps speed up the painting because that's the whole point. Is with these paints, you get a lot done. And so you can always come back later after you do these, and you can actually bring them up other standards by using other basic paints to layer up your colors and stuff to speed it up. So let's get this red on. So I said this is a regular medieval archer. So there's nothing really fancy about them. But it's got on his coat here. It's gonna be two different colors. I'm gonna go with a red and a black. And the red I'm using is the Blood Angels red. And one thing about contrast, there's is like a lot of paints you don't want to go on heavy. You want to go on thin coats, but with contrast it's kind of different. You can go on heavy, and a lot of times it actually looks better because it's kind of made to go on heavy, to flow into the cracks and just give you the effect of highlighting and stuff. So here we go. Now for his. And you really want to spray paint white. That's basically but the only color you want to use with contrast. Um, there's other techniques you can use with different colors and stuff like that. But I said this is just we're just trying to get armies on the table to play. Yeah, so right now I'm doing medieval and stuff like that, but later I'm gonna be doing some fantasy and stuff too. Not fantasy, but sci-fi, different sci-fi things on vehicles, stuff like that. So, all right, I got the red done. Now, when you do this for units, you would set down 5 or 10 miniatures, and you just go through do all the red, and by the time you get done with the last miniature, your original coat should be dry because the contrast dries really quickly, so it does dry fast. So once you usually get about done 10, you can come back, do the next color, go through, and like when in an hour you can have a full unit of 10 archers painted. So if you sit down an hour in the evening, do this, boom, you got 10 done, set aside, next night, do enough. And by 1 or 2 weeks, you can have your army painted, tabletop quality on the table and playing. And so it doesn't take much to do it. So now, for his leggings, leggings can be almost any color. Um, so with this, let's go something. We'll go with blue. With a blue. Let's show some blues here. We'll go. So we use games. No. Let's go over this Army Painter Magic Blue, and they all have agitators. The Speed Painters already come with agitators in it. So agitators just help mix up the paint, get the paint. A lot of times the paint will settle to the bottom if they're setting up. The agitator and this mixes up the pigments. Um, uh, the Games Workshop doesn't come with agitators, but you can buy. It's just ball bearings. You can just buy a pack of those. These are AK Interactive. Um, they're just ball bearings, and except they're not that expensive. Like $6.99 for this. Oh, you get a good camera. And you just drop these. And I put these in my paints when I'm starting to use it. It just helps mix up the paints and stuff. And a lot of paints nowadays are coming with built-in agitators now. So and for a palette, there's a whole bunch of different things you can use for palettes. But one good one, best is I use pop bottle caps. These are Coke bottle, and some have minty layers of paint built up on them. So they're nice and cheap. You already got them, and you can use it. And I also use these for if you're painting uh my troops and stuff. I also use them for handholds. So this is a 50 millimeter Polish hussar, winged hussar. With this, I just use Elmer's glue, attach the miniature right to the top, and let it dry. About then you prime it, and you can just paint right there, and you have no problem. And here is a finished one. Focus. And that's it. And this is done by the contrast paints. I painted him with contrast paints, and nothing fancy about him. And it gets guys on the table. I said this doesn't prevent you from painting better, but it's a good start for you. So this is the Army Painter Blue. Yeah, so I just plop them on his leggings. And so with the white primer, it's really good for this paint because it actually makes it good. There's other techniques you can use with black paint too. It's called to get different shades and stuff. It's more advanced for some people, but it's for beginners. Just get a can of white spray paint. It can be almost any primer. I usually use Krylon 2 times white primer, and it's like $5.99 a can, or you can get it on sale for like 2 for $5. And if it's like you find it for 2 for $5, you just grab it. You get stock up on it. So pants are done, and with a medieval, well, if you're doing like something sci-fi or modern, you can do that same color organized. But for medieval, especially with this, you can go through and do different colors for their leggings and stuff. Break it up and stuff. So I got the leggings done. Now I go with his bow. For his bow, go ahead. Go with Speed Paint Darkwood. This is a nice dark color. Uh, you can go with a lighter brown if you want to, because usually the bow's not white. But I'm doing a weathered bow on this just to make it darker. This guy's carried it for some years in the field, so and get that on there. And for paintbrushes, basically with speed painting, you just need a fine tip brush just to get the paint in there. All right, so the bow's done. Uh, I get this. Cool. We're gonna do the rest. See now the red is dried. Now we're gonna go back and do this opposite color, and that's gonna be black. And this is game's the Templar Black Templar, and eh, pop it on there. It just this yeah, just make sure you get nice line. And what's nice and easy on the front side because where it buttons. There's just with the two cloths cover, it does help get you a straight line. It just takes little patience. Get around the cloth decorations at the top. Just kind of feel it. And if you get a little over, you can just take your finger and just brush it right off. So it's nice. It doesn't dry instantly, so you can it can help. It can clean up fast. And also you get in little areas where you can't get your finger. You take a paintbrush, put a little water, get down there, and you can just thin it right out. So yeah, you just keep a couple brushes handy. It helps clean it out. So a little more around his hand here. There we go. And this paint, when it's dry, and sometimes with the contrast paints and the army paint, you get little bubbles. Maybe you go on a little bit too heavy or something like that. You get little bubbles once in a while. You just kind of go over it, go back over it again to see where, because it's still water tension, so a lot of time it will still bubble because you're putting water on the spray paint. And also, I like to do is like if you get underneath, you just take the black and just fill in underneath like that. It's one spot where most people won't see, but it just neatens it up, just neatens up a little bit. So, whoop, there you go. And just see where you get this 80 white left over. Just go back with a little black. Just kind of touch it in there. And what's nice about with the contrast is like with the black, you can make stuff look like shadows and stuff. So we go here. It's not done. I don't know, back this off a little bit, make it more even. All right. There we go. There we go. Now, also that's going to stay black. I'm also going to use black for the armor too. This is the so on him he has a metal helmet and he has a dagger here. So first start off with the black. So if you this is medieval, you can have a painted helmet too. So the helmet can be painted different colors or in the livery colors. Want to, but I'm just going to go with black. Oh, pump that. Go, fill that back in. And this dagger. Just going to have a steel dagger. Yeah, because he's not a rich man, just a lonely foot soldier. That's what he can afford. All right. Now this one area right here on his arrows right here, I got some red on it. Easy way to fix that. You just take some plain white. This is just regular paint white. I'm just using AK white. And this is your touch-up paint. Yep. And so over that red, just do that. Boop. Okay, it's done. You can do the same thing. A little spot there. It's a little too soon yet. I can't. It hasn't brown on there, so. But I said if you're doing a unit of 10 of these, by the time you get done with the 10th guy, when you come back, that'd be dried. Then you go through and just touch it up. So, so we're gonna go to his belt. He has belt, and he has his arm guard there for his bow. And for that, the one color I love to use for leather is snakebite leather from. I love this leather. To me, it's like almost a perfect leather. So this is one of the best paints they got. And this nice and simple. You just take it, just go right over the belt. Yeah, you just gotta be careful. Sometimes you get too much on your brush and it kind of poofs out because it's too much. Just drain a little off. I'm gonna give my brown sheath too. Nothing expensive. So that'd be brown, and this is sort of leather arm guard here. All right, and for this speed up for leather, I'm gonna have his shoes this color too, so they're gonna be leather too. Yeah. The one thing, especially if you're doing rank and file, is less colors the better. If you start getting into too many colors, that you're going to be bogged down with all the different colors. So fewer colors, the better. So basically on him, it's only 4 colors so far. The brown is for the bows. All the bows are going to be dark brown. But you just got the black, the red, the blue. I said the leggings are going to be different colors for the different, because it breaks up a little bit. It adds a little, but you don't have to. You can have all of them the same color too if you want to, because you can always go black and red on this on the stockings and his pants too. So, but that's just whatever flavor you want to do it to. So now and to help, if you want to paint faster, if you want the paint to speed up, you can always use a hair dryer. Take a hair dryer and blow on it. I'll actually help dry the paint too. Get the moisture off. But with the contrast paint, you can tell when it's dry because it'd be shiny when it's wet and it dulls down when it starts drying. So let's see, it's getting there. It's getting there. So oh, I missed some up by his hat face. Where did I put it at? There. Clean it up. Just clean up just a little. All right. And he does have a belt buckle. I'm just going to do a quick little swoosh there. That covers his belt buckle. Yeah, I've been using a lot of Maneuver. I've been using non-metallic metal, uh, which is a very simple process. Just the black, and there's a dry brush. You can dry brush with like a white or gray over it. And it gives the same effect as steel, but that's something a little bit more advanced just to get the right mixture. Or you can say you can just paint it silver and be done with it. For this tutorial, I'm just going to use silver on it. I'll show you dry brushing non-metallic. So it's been a couple minutes. So this is just a little cleanup. Got some white on this. It's red here. Yeah, so just do a quick look over. Clean this face up a little bit. There's a sheath of arrows here. Just put like a layer of white. That's all you need, and nothing. That's a little wet there, but it's not going to hurt anything. Okay, now that dry. This. Show you some other ones. This is what I'm working on right now. Here you go. I said this. He's done with contrast paints. He's gonna be my wizard for a campaign I'm working on. So it's just contrast paints, and next I'm gonna go back over some flesh paint. Or it could be any flesh paint, regular. I really like the pro ones here. They're really good. That there's Vallejo's, Games Workshops. There's a lot of different, and just kind of touch it up and a little dry brushing, and just put a wash on it. And it's like here, I use a non-metallic gold, which is there. It's the contrast Nasdaq yellow. You put this straight on, it looks like gold. Then you can just take some white, dry brush some, just to brighten up little areas to give a little reflection on it, and you got your gold. So nice and simple. So, so go back over the brown a little bit. Still a little wet. And to put it on it kind of one thing you gotta watch out for with contrast. If you put it on a little bit too thick, it will run. It will pool in sec. So kind of watch out for that. If it is pooled and stuff like that, you can take a brush, just dab, and it'll just suck it up. Yeah. So there you go. Oop, what's that? Oop. Like I said. So once you that, go to your next one, then your next one. And I said you just do some day. If it's only like 5 a day or 10 a day, uh, within like 2 weeks, your army can be painted on the table, and you're going, wow, I did that. And and do not let other people judge your painting. I've been some places where people really bashed new people who are just getting their paint jobs. I'm going, I'm like, these guys just getting into it. They're trying their hardest, and these people slap me because when I was coming up, the people really didn't teach painting. If you were a good painter, you kept it to yourself. It was a secret that you didn't teach anyone else how to paint. I met a couple guys who really taught me how to paint. I was lucky, but most people would not share their techniques. Like nowadays, you get painting tutorials on every style, paint, oils, acrylics, enamels. There's plenty of them out there, but I grew up in the '80s. There wasn't anything like that. There wasn't books on how to paint. There was books on how to paint if you are artists, and some of those you could switch over. But most your painters, even builders, guys did terrain and stuff. They kept that secrets to themselves, so they didn't teach people that stuff. But nowadays, some of the best painters have their own books out there, and it might be that you not be able to paint that, but you can always learn something. And when some people are going, I know everything. One thing I can say, if you know everything, you don't know nothing. That you might have been painting for 40 years. You pick up a book, oh, boom, there's a new idea. So always learn on painting techniques. I said, if you get some cheap paint figures and try it out. Just try it something. You see something you think, oh, I kind of like that. You just get some cheap miniatures and just start practice on those. Just practice, and after a while, you get better at it. Then you go, okay, I want to try this. Add that into your painting, and I want to try this. I want to try this, and before you know it, you'll be painting, and you'll be getting your armies in the field. That's all we're looking for is to get armies on the field. Okay, now for the arrows, uh, Argos dunes because they'd be a more lighter. Historically, it'd be willow, but oh, get some on there. A little pooling there. Let's push that down to the bottom and then the base because it doesn't matter on the base. And if it gets in like the creases in between, that's perfectly fine because it'll dry there. It will actually add shadow, which actually make it look better. And you got the top and the knock and arrows. There you go. There you go. Arrows done. All right. Now I'm gonna go to his flesh. For his flesh, I've really like the Crusader skin by Army Builder Speed Paint. I really, you can go with this color or you can go with Gilliman flesh. Citadel if you want to. Oops, put it down there. And just like that is painted on. No, it's like that. That's a little bit. Let me see. Get up here. Come on. I put a layer on, it's a bit too thin. Go back. It's keeping this in. Doesn't want to focus right. his hands. And what's nice with the speed paints and that if you got a lighter color, like this lighter flesh, get it on the brown, it doesn't affect the brown. It just adds more shading to it. So actually, it kind of helps out. So you can not be too messy, but you can overbrush it a little bit just to go back a little darker. There you go. So, come on, come on. There we go. Yeah. But look, it's not getting the same effect over if you see it in person because it's highlighting around his nose, his lips, his eyes. So almost done. Almost done. Yeah. Clean up these. A little bit more. Yeah. And also with these are going to be units of 10. So when you get a bunch of these guys all in a grouped up like that, if you make any little imperfection, it's not going to be shown because it's going to be hidden in the batches of them. So I'm going to show you some other things that I painted with a contrast paint so you get an idea. Let's get in the camera. The halfling war wagon, a robot or steam. This is Mantic. This is all done by contrast, non-metallic gray. It's just like a grayish. It's what the grayish wash I put on there. It's a speed painting, and to take another one. These all done with contrast too. This little different technique is for the lighter areas on the shield here and stuff like that. I just watered the mixture down, then put it on, and it'll run into the edges. Then once it starts drying, just take a wet paintbrush and just kind of clean it up a little bit. Then I just went back with some white paint and just hit the highlights just to highlight it. Everywhere else is just regular put on. So there's different ways you can use contrast. It's just something you just need to experiment with to find out what you want to do and stuff with it. But okay, now for the metal, I say you can go with. I'm going to use this regular. I'm going to use natural steel by AK. AK has really good metals, so if you can find some AK dealer that carries AK, all their paints are good, but the metallics are really good. Don't need too much of that. This you're just gonna put on his helmet. Good. And a little, it's kind of a plain old steel dagger, nice and simple. And he has some buttons, so they're just going to be metal too, pewter buttons. Realistically, the buttons have probably been wood or bone, but we're just. I already got the metal out, so I'm just going to use metal. And that's it. That's all for the metal. No, so as of now, this figure is actually done. There's not much more I can do with it because there's not much on it. But there is, if you look at once it starts drying, you start seeing white spots. This is where the paint has kind of pulled apart and stuff like that. Now, the next step I'm going to do as soon as you finish dry is a dry brushing. The dry brushing. Oh, let's go with him. Basically, this is the same thing. Put them on the handle. There we go. The dry brush is just it's a method to highlight the edges to make stuff pop out and stuff. So there's different ways to do it. You can go back through with lighter colors so you can use like a light blue if you want to highlight the edges of the blue, the red, and the brown. But I said this is for speed painting, so what I'm going to use I'm just going to use plain white. Oops. I don't know why this doesn't want to focus. I've been playing with the camera. It wants to focus up here. Maybe I have to zoom in farther. So, get some white, and now you want to use a dry brushing. It's just like a stiff dry brush. You just want to use that. Put some paint on it. And what I use is the back of my hand. So you just kind of get most of the paint off. And this is where it comes down to your liking. Is get to the level of paint you want to. And you take a miniature and just drag your brush over it. And what it does, it just gives it just a little on the edges of the paint, a little warm, a little light. And on my figures here, I'm using non-metallic metal look. It's just a little flatter. Get his hand. And all that is it's just the black. No, just some paint some white over it. So what it does on his belt down here, come on. It just brings out the edges of the belt, makes the belt so you can see the belt and all the little nooks and crannies. And he has metal studs on his jerkin, and the little dry brush white over it just makes those pop up and looks metal. So I said we're not going for painting competitions, guys. This is just to get figures on the board and painted. And I really like the skin. The skin's kind of dirty looking. Okay, it's dirty. He's just well worn, road tanned. He's been out in the sun, campaigning, adventuring. A little bit more white on the edges of the blade, just to give the sharpness of the blade. A little bit brighter than the other one. This is, and you gotta be careful when you dry brush. There is a limit, and once you go past that limit, you know where you hit it. It's just you go okay, too much. There's ways of fixing it because this is not finished yet. The dry brushing is just one more step to the end. Now, quick look at he's getting there. He's almost there. But yeah, so and it doesn't take very long for this to dry brush the dry. And once that's dry, there's one more step that I go by to darken it back down because there's different. You can put. I'm gonna put a wash on here. You can go black wash, brown wash, or any washes you want because you can get washes in any color. You can wash blue here. What that does, if the edges are too white, you can put a blue wash over it, and it'll blend those colors together. It turned that white to a lighter blue, and it just gives you the transition colors. But these are medieval, and so I'm gonna go with brown. So you can use brown wash from any company to go over it, or you can go with Tamiya makes a panel liner in different colors. These work these work really well too. Really get the color. Or another way is oil based paint. You put some of this in a bowl, put some mineral spirits in it, thin it out, and put it on. It will run all the nooks and stuff. It'll fill in any areas that it actually might have some little white dots or something like that. This will fill it in, and it'll just disappear. But for this one, I'm just going to use uh, Games Workshop Agris. I really have to work on this cam. Hopefully, my next one I have it worked out. And all you have to do is get a paintbrush. Yeah, I'm going to thin it out a little bit. So let's put little the container, add some water. It just thins it out a little bit. Makes you take a minute here and just blop it all over. You can be careful if you want to. You hit the spots you want. But what this does, it kind of I like it because it kind of blends the whole character together. But it's with the wash, you gotta be careful. So if I can spot like on the back here, now the camera doesn't really show. I actually show it bright, but it's a little bit too dark for my liking. So all I need to do is take some some water, and just kind of just take some of the off, and just watch out for the pooling. All you want to do with the washes is that it'll help blend the figure together and stuff like that, and it'll just help darken up some of the darker areas, the shadows. And I said, if you got any spots where there's little white dots, or you see spots where you're missing, because that's what's nice about the white. The white will pop up. You just take some wash and fill it in, and those spots will be gone. So, and as right now, this guy's basically done. I just have it's waiting on the archer. That's it. If you're impatient, I say you can always take a hair dryer. Those hold it not too close, but back, and just blow the hot air. Or if you're live somewhere where it's warm and sunny, you can just put them on the windowsill, or take them outside and drop them off somewhere, and let the sun and outside dry air will dry it right up. So yeah, he looks good enough. So now we're gonna do the dry brush. Get some paint on here. And I say this. Yeah. The areas you want to hit is like the black. It's like the black. Oh, this is too solid. So you just take the dry brush, just hit the edges. It just gives like a little effect to it. But as I said, this is something you just need to practice with. And once you get it down to where you like it, it doesn't take too much. But I said, if you do it too much, you'll notice. You know right away you did it too much. But I said, then you can take washes and bring it back down. There you go. I mean, it doesn't take that much. It's just a highlight. That's it. If you're doing a unit of 10 of these, then it'll go faster. By the time you're done with the 10th one, you can go back to the first one, next color. All right. Now, let's just gotta wait that dry for a minute or two. And I said we're gonna do I'm gonna stick with there's different colors you can go. different shades and stuff. I said this is stuff you just want to experiment with. Uh, so if you got different colors of brown, you can go with different shades of brown, like Seraphim Syrupia, Agrath, Reikland, flesh that was made to go on flesh if you want to. So that this is stuff you just need to experiment with. Uh, Define what you want in your army, the look, the feel, the stuff. So that's all it comes down to. Is you can watch all the videos you want. Yeah, you might watch a guy paint a beautiful miniature. You paint the same way, and you go, "Ugh, I don't like that." So you just gotta find what the happy medium into what you want to do. So, all right. So it does take too long to dry. So I'm gonna take some Agrath. Put my little cup here. Take some my water. I want a little bit thinner. Ooh, a little bit more. Oop, oop. There you go. And just plop. Plop it all over him. Yeah, so I will be doing other videos showing how water it down to make it thinner, how to use on different ways. But so that's it. Now, that's it. We're not painting this guy for awards or prizes or something. We're painting for this to have armies on the table. So if you do it this way, you paint. If you have to do like 3 units of archers in 3 days, you have all your paint. You have them painted. So you have 30 guys out there all ready to go in the field that you could take your time if you want to on a leader, a model leader, or something like that if you want to. Give it more detail. Use regular paints if you want to. But I said the contrast. It's good for rank and file. They get forces on the table. I said once you get 10 of these guys in a row, get them based up. I said they will all blend together. You have a nice unit. So it's a quick way. And once you start painting, get your army painted on the field, you will feel more personalized because you spent time with it, painting it. I said, if you want to be fancy, you can start naming characters and stuff. Like, if you want to, then it really becomes personalized. And you really feel bad. Well, if you screw up, you lose something, you actually feel bad about it. So I hope this helps you. I'm doing it. Here we go. Keep it the camera. There we go. Is that nice little archer? And it didn't take too long at all. I mean, boop, boop, boop. But I said, if you wanted to, you can let it all dry. Then you can come back with regular paints, and you can layer up those paints if you want to. It doesn't stop you. But to start with, this is a quick way to do it. You get started, get your army done, then you can start getting other paints and working your way up to different layers because there's washes, there's filters you can put on there, or different metallics, and there's metallic washes. There's a whole line of stuff that you can to improve your painting and stuff. But I said if you don't really have a lot of time to do it, you just have say you got an hour at night. This way you can get 5 guys done in an hour. Boop boop. Every night, 1 hour, and I said within a month your army be painted and on the field. So I said it's really good for beginners or guys. I do this for my Napoleonics, my 28s. And when you're painting hundreds of guys the same way, this is one way to get those guys painted and out before you get tired of painting them. Oh, but so I hope this will help someone out there. Like I said, it's not for everyone, but for you guys out there who are struggling, who want to paint but are struggling, one way of doing it is that it just takes practice, practice, practice. I said once you paint an army, you look at the very first miniature you painted to the very last, you'll see a difference in the painting. There will be a complete difference. That's it. Because over the time as you paint, you get better. You learn new techniques, and stuff. Paintbrushes are important, but not always. Because some of the best paintbrushes I've had where I picked up a Hobby Lobby for half off for it have been some of the best ones too. So you don't need to invest in high expect to start off with. You can just get Hobby Lobby paintbrushes. You just make sure they're just fine points. As in with Hobby Lobby, sorry, if you ruin a paintbrush, whoop, you can chuck it, or you can use it for mixing paint. So it's not a big investment, but I said the contrast paints and the speed paints is one way to get you painting, get guys at the table, and make you start enjoying the hobby instead of just looking at gray minis out there. You can actually feel that's my army, and I don't care what anyone else thinks about it. So I hope this helps out. Thank you for watching. Hit the subscribe button, and if you have any other comments, just leave them below. I'll be coming back with more because I'm working an Elven army too. As I said, I do have more knights coming and stuff, so maybe do some knights and stuff. But so until later, thank you guys for watching. Bye.